Hey fellow gearheads, how's it going? My name is Daniel and you are watching All Geared Up, the channel on which we geek out on gear because we like gear, I guess. So let's talk about this tiny camera. So let's talk about why you actually would want to get such a small camera. In terms of photography, most people would laugh at someone using such a small camera. And the reason for that is it has a small sensor, a 1-inch sensor. And most people say the bigger the sensor, the better, right? And there are cases in which you might want to actually go with a smaller sensor. And that's maybe product photography and all sorts of stuff. And this camera can actually deliver on that. And I've taken catalog stuff and all that good stuff without having the need of doing focus stacking and all that stuff, which is a lot of extra steps to take and a lot of images and to deal with and stuff like this. So it's great for that. It has the hot shoe, which is great for taking studio images with flash and stuff like this. But there are different cases on which I think this could perform quite well. In the second field, I would think this tiny powerhouse would be great is being a travel photography camera. And most people would think of travel photography in terms of landscapes and architecture. And yeah, you probably can do this with such a small camera, but there are different scenarios. So as this has a hot shoe, this can do ETTL, like all the Canon DSLRs can. And it speaks to the speed lights. So consider yourself using this on location. It has a built-in ND filter even. So you can darken down the scene and use the speed lights for these incredible editorial or advertising look portraits and stuff like that. So that's something you probably can't do with a lot of small cameras. The other big field I think this camera is great for is video blogging or vlogging. And as a vlogging camera, you probably don't need 4K. The most important parts of, or the most important features for vlogging would be to get yourself in frame while hand holding it. To have a camera you can actually hand hold for quite some time. And with a small camera like this, it doesn't weigh a lot. You can basically hold it as long as the battery will last you. The other thing is autofocus, face tracking, and image stabilization. And this camera has this. It has touch autofocus. It has face tracking. It has lens and image sensor stabilization. That leads us to the next field in which this camera could be incredible value for the money. So thinking about streaming, like streamers who are streaming video games or streaming for other purposes like education or whatever it is, if you film yourself or stream yourself into the interwebs, you probably want a decent quality image. What most people would do is probably using their webcams, and no matter how good you're lighting yourself, the webcams do not perform. They just give you a crappy image. And the solution would be maybe using a camera like this that has clean HDMI out signal going into a capture card, capture dongle, any sort of this device, and then you basically have the same image quality as you've seen me filming myself. And that's a huge jump in production value and quality you would get. So we now have talked about the qualities of the camera and which feels it might be one of the best cameras you can buy. But it's not a perfect camera. I'm not saying that. It is a small camera and it has its qualities, but also its drawbacks. And I want to address them in this video as well. So it is a small camera and they did quite a well or decent job designing the grips for it. But still, it is a small camera. And I could just imagine someone having bigger hands than me. You always have to kind of stabilize the camera with your fingers, and your fingers get tired over time. using the camera. In terms of video, we probably would want maybe 4K in another version of the camera. Maybe higher frame rates would be great. And what I am really missing is an audio input. While the microphones in this camera are decent, I would have wished for just the option of having an external microphone. So having to lug around an external recorder is kind of a hassle, like defeats the purpose of having a small camera. But other than that, it's like really astonishing to see what they have packed in such a small device. So that's it for today. We've talked enough about this little camera. If you're on the market for getting a video camera for video blogging or for streaming, maybe consider getting something like this. Or if you're considering getting into photography and buying your first camera, this might be kind of a budget camera still, but you will need quite some time until your skills will outperform this camera. So, and then also it's a good all-around camera. You can get into photography and start learning about video and stuff like this without spending $1,000, $2,000 on a camera. So I will leave the links to all the gear in the description. So that's it for today. Enough talk about cameras. If you know of any other camera that is similar price range and could compete with this, maybe let us know. Other than that, if you like the video, hit the like button. If you have not subscribed to the channel yet, I would really appreciate if you do so, because I want to keep doing these videos and I want to talk about gear. And yeah, see you around next time. Bye.